We are raising the level of discourse here. Running lines together, that's right. Bobby Thompson. It's just Bobby Thompson. Dude wants nothing to do with Bobby. We'll bring up Ron too. Hey, bearded dad, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the franchise time machine. We are waiting to start up a bit. I had to reboot the system, and we are about to get a raid from Ezra Denny. So we're gonna hold off a little bit to start the stream. But welcome. Make yourself comfortable. You probably have time to get a drink or a snack before we start up here today. I'll put the starting soon slide back up too. Yeah, he is on an NSFW mode. I thought I thought about putting up my where is it? I thought about putting that up, Max. All right, I'm putting the starting soon slide back up for a second. All right, I think we can get started here. Sounds like the raid is imminent. So tonight I was gonna do a completely different set of experiments tonight, but in watching Dr. Dynastic do some player boosting demonstrations for his Red Rock League, I realized that there's probably benefit people could get from seeing this. So, hey, Ezra Denny, thank you for the raid. As always, appreciate it. I enjoyed your your 1959 Giants save today, especially Dick Lines coming in at the end there. If you can believe it, Dick Lines did not even make the roster for our team NSFW. So that'll give you an idea of the kinds of players we have on our team. I did like your Ezra. I did like your Dick Ricketts joke about if you have Dick Ricketts, you might need to go see your doctor. Barry Basher, welcome back to the stream. So yeah, I decided to switch topics tonight. I was initially going to try to test the relative impacts of having 550 maximum level bunting, bunt for a hit, stealing bases, and base running. But then just as kind of something fun to do because like I don't think anyone really uses those attributes. I thought it'd be fun to see like which one, if any, dominates. But watching Dr. Dynastic demonstrate the player boosting process for his Red Rock League, I realized people might benefit from understanding which pitches are most impactful in the base game. All right, so we've done batting attributes. We've done batting attributes paired with power. We've done pitching attributes. We've done strategy sliders. One of the next ones on my list was pitchers. Yeah, P-Boom, it is change up time. So I think I want to preface this though by going back to an earlier experiment I did. Um, and that's why I think change up has come up a lot. Ezra wants to go sinkers and ground ball all the time. I think that's also an interesting take. But I want to go back to an episode I did. It must have been at least a couple months ago now. Wow, I've been doing this long. I guess I have. Um, I was doing a game I used to do in old versions of OTP, where I would take a team, take a handful of players, and give each one a 100-point boost to an attribute. Now, 100 points in the old game, which went from 1 to 250, is actually 220 points in the new game because the scale goes from 1 to 550. And I went in thinking, okay, uh, Bobby Witt, I guess Bobby Witt Sr. at this point, um, you know, he could use control. Pete Incaviglia could use avoid K. Um, and so I had all these kind of ideas going into the simulation. Now, when you change attributes in the base game, and I'll just show you in the base game, we can go to any save. So whatever the most recent save is. Oh, okay. Um, this is the Billy Bean Glenn Burke tribute sim. So we'll go into this. I can show you this in any sim. So we'll go into any player. All right, so we'll go into any one of these Billy Beans. This one with 1,000 plus OPS. All right, now in editor, in batting ratings, for example, okay, keep your eye down here where it says expected current. I think you can see my cursor, right? I'm looking in the left-hand column about two-thirds of the way down the screen. It says expected current MLB and expected talent MLB. Talent is just another word for potential. And what this is saying is based on these numbers in the VL and V right columns, this is your expected stat line against current major league pitching. Okay. So I'll show you what. So let's keep an eye on doubles. Doubles, right? It says 40 doubles. 550 at bats, 40 doubles. And I'm going to boost gap from 408 to the maximum 550. First VL, and then VR. Right now it's 83 doubles. Right? So in real time, it tells you based on the attributes you're entering in what stat line you can expect. So I would when I normally when I do these sims, I try not to peek at that because it'll start to give away the outcome. But in this case, I was trying to decide which attribute to raise. So I was looking at it and as I would kind of test it out. And on the batters, it turns out even if it's Pete Incaviglia, who is a low contact, mostly because of his terrible avoid K, high power, decent eye hitter. And so I thought, okay, if you improve his avoid K, he already has power. He'll then hit for more average and he'll become a more well rounded hitter. And it turns out for almost any kind of hitter, except for those with weak power coming into it, if you add 220 to their power, they'll essentially become a triple crown candidate. And that's also why I knew in advance that boosting power was probably gonna be the most impactful of all the batting attributes. And we've talked about that a lot in the previous streams, so I won't go into too much detail. But the reason is because you're adding homers. Those homers are hits that are not accounted for in the contact numbers. So you're actually adding homers and hits, right? So you become like a triple crown candidate. But on the pitching side was even more surprising. Um, I thought for Bobby Witt, he needs control. Even for like a late career Nolan Ryan, I thought maybe a control boost might help him. Um, and then for that team also had um, that team had Jamie Moyer and Charlie Huff. And I thought, wow, those two, if they had more stuff, they might be like deadly. And so I played with increasing their stuff mostly through velocity and increasing the fastball. It turns out nothing improved the pitchers more than adding those 220 points, even if it meant leaving points on the table. Adding those points to their off speed pitch did more than anything else, and it basically made them Cy Young candidates. And so here's what I ended up doing with that team. Right, I let myself have 10 players that I was going to add these 220 points to. For Bobby Witt, it didn't matter if I touched his control. He could still be as wild as he was. With a 550 changeup, he was an unbeatable pitcher. With Charlie Huff, it was his knuckleball, which I'm lumping into as an off speed pitch. Even Jamie Moyer, right? More stuff wasn't the key; it was boosting his changeup. Nolan Ryan, right? Imagine peak Nolan Ryan with a 550 circle change, right? He became unhittable. And Kenny Rogers was the fifth pitcher where I boosted his changeup. Um, and then on the hitting side, everyone got more power, right? Julio Franco, Palmera, Sierra. The only one who didn't get enough benefit from boosting the power was Gary Pettis. His power was started too low to get this big benefit that I've been describing. But as a leadoff hitter, he actually benefited a lot from reducing his avoid K. And so that's where his points went. But anyway, this is a long tangent to just kind of explain. This is how I know changeup is probably going to be huge. And it might even be what P Boom is referring to. But I've also talked to this a lot, so he may have also heard me say we know changeup is huge. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to go through the four pitches our pitchers already have, and um, just kind of confirm what we think we know about the changeup. And it's also going to give us a chance to go ahead and fix a few things about our quick start that haven't been corrected, because the way I've been using the quick starts is I'll save the quick start so I can make edits to it. Then I'll make all the edits for the episode and I'll make the corrections in that version. But that means the corrections have never made it to the base or like the mother version of the quick start. So I'm going to go back and change that, and then we'll start doing this experiment with the pitches. People says if Virgil trucks through harder than Bob Feller and Feller through 104 whatever, how hard did Fire trucks throw? Yeah, I mean, I think you also have to take it with a grain of salt that Feller through 104, right? Because that's a combination of anecdotal and stopwatch timing. Um, I mean, it is possible, but yeah, I mean, who knows, right? But I think that's part of the beauty of it. Is like I kind of don't want to know. Like I think it's cool that it's kind of lost to history. All right, so let's load a quick start, our experimental quick start, and we'll call this pitch ratings. We already did. Oh wait, pitches. I know we haven't done one with specific pitches yet, so we'll call it pitches version one. People said he had 418 strikeouts in his first minor league season, 13.4 strikeouts per night. That's amazing. Okay, and we're going to use our average league 4. So the first thing we're going to do is make all the edits we've been meaning to make, save it as average league 5. We know average league 5 is now safe, and then we'll make the edits for this experiment. Unfortunately, the edits aren't that extensive. It's just a few things with the mailbox, with the make sure so the sim doesn't get interrupted, and then having the AI set lineups and pitching staffs, because some of the sims wouldn't fire unless we had those set up. Okay, so this is the base quick start. So first thing we're going to do is turn off all these reasons to exit autoplay. And there's this do not disturb option. I do not use this because if you look at the fine print, it says this will let the AI do things like set lineups, depth charts, pitching staff, and minor league transactions. All this stuff we don't want it doing. So it's well intentioned. It's probably great if you're doing a season save. Well, maybe. I don't know. It's not great for what we're trying to do. So we're going to do it this manual way. And then the other thing we need to do, oh, let me check the mailbox. Okay, we don't need all these. Really, all we want are the major awards. And I think the general league news is how we get the all-star updates. And then we need to go through every team now and make sure everyone has um, the sets the okay. This has pitching staffs. That's good. Okay, this has lineups. Great. Okay, see, this one does not have lineups. So these were causing some problems previously. So we'll just ask the bench coach to set up depth charts and lineups. And then the same for, yeah, see, this pitching staff is not set up. And this was causing problems with the Sims firing. So, oh, shoot. Oh, you know what? I might have missed something. Okay, Braves lineups. I have to do it up here. If I go, I keep going this nav bar on the right, but that goes back to whatever team that AI considers our owned team, and it's not actually the team we're looking at. Okay, that's good. Mets. Okay, we need lineups and depth charts, and we need pitching staff. Pitching staff is already set. Oakland, they need a pitching staff. And do they need lineups? Yes, they need lineups. Okay, and then Philadelphia. And just for the sake of consistency and repeatability, we're always just going to let the AI set all the staffs and pitching staffs and lineups. And very rarely do I step in and make edits at this stage. One notable exception is when I added 4 Willie Mazes to the 2023 Mets the night Willie Mays passed away. Um, I added 4 because I figured all 3 outfield spots and DH. But apparently the AI thought that Daniel Vogelbach was a better DH, so it sent one of the Willie Mazes to the reserve roster. So that's one time where I undid an AI decision that I did not agree with. Partly because it was like the core reason I was doing the sim. I couldn't not have the Willie Mays in the lineup. Um, okay, and so the reason these lineups were a problem was for some reason it needed them in place to set the schedule. So we'll go ahead and also we'll generate the schedule. Okay. And the other thing we want to do in this base quick start is make sure that we've taken care of the totals issue. Okay, yeah, see, this is not unchecked. If you don't uncheck this, use AutoCalc with modifiers, uncheck it, it will keep changing this back. You can set it to ones, you'll go away from the screen and come back, and the modifiers will be back because this box was checked. Now we're good. So we can call this quick save 5 now, or quick start 5 now. Save current game as a quick start. Yes, that's what we want. Average league free 5. And what we changed is, well, complete, completely average and standardized players. I don't know why I did title case, but players, uh, lineups, and pitching staff set, schedule generated, um, do not disturb set, and what was the last thing we did? Oh, modifiers off. Okay. So averagely 5 is the new template we'll be using. Now, this might get confusing. I saved that quick start because I just want the league as a quick start. Now, in case you want to repeat this uh, experiment over and over, which we might have to, once I set the pitches, we will go back and we will save this as yet another quick start. This will be the experimental quick start, not the template quick start. Okay, so the easiest way to do this to make sure we don't forget what we're editing in each team is to just rename the teams now. Oh, wait, before I do that though, I have to remind myself, what are the 4 pitches we gave every pitcher? I think it's fastball, slider, curveball, change. Yeah, I think of that as like the classic pitcher repertoire. It might be a little old school, but I always think of that as kind of the basic 4 pitches. Now, I go in order. And for whatever reason, the Mets always get screwed and never have like an interesting one. So we'll see what happens today. All right. Today's the fastball Angels. What order was it in? Fastball, slider, curveball, change. The lucky Rangers and the lucky Nationals are going to get the game-breaking pitch. All right, the Mets might be okay here. The slider might be interesting. But my money is on the Rangers and the Nationals. Okay, so now we're going to go in and make our edits. Okay, so the fastball Braves. Now, only the starting pitchers have all 4 pitches. The relievers only have 2. And that's just a kind of a quirk of OOTP, is even if you have 4 pitches, when you get sent to the bullpen, you'll only use 2 pitches. Um, I don't necessarily know if I agree with that, but it's a simplifying assumption they've made, and I mean, what am I gonna do? We're gonna roll with it. So it's only 6 pitchers we have to edit. Hey, Clay Dog, you missed me setting up. Is the one pitch higher and the rest average? Yeah, that's correct. So we're gonna take the same approach we took for most of our other experiments. We're only gonna touch that one pitch for all the starters, and we're gonna max it out, and then we'll go around the league that same way. Now, the reason for the starters is the relievers only have 2 pitches. I'm a little worried that if they get 550 pitches, but then uh, so all the relievers have fastballs and sliders. I'm worried that if those get boosted in the relievers, then team curveball and team changeup will get screwed over. So we're not going to do that. Hey, Kitty Poo Poo, welcome. Um, so yeah, so that's exactly right, Clay Dog. You understood it correctly. Now, this experiment, one thing that could happen is this experiment might not be as clear as the others because in the others we're changing an entire rating. Now, if you look at stuff down here, right, the starting pitcher stuff is 401. That's not going to go up to 550 because we're only changing one pitch to 550. Um, and so you'll see like the stuff is not going to affect. Now, part of it wants to tell you not to look down there because if you look down there, you're going to already start to get a hint as like which pitch is going to win. And oh, you know what? I can control this. What am I thinking? I can control this. Let's do a version of this where hold on, let me make a copy of this. Okay. This will be good. I'm gonna oh wait, I don't even have to change the size. Hold on. I just need to scoot this down a little bit. Yeah, okay. So this is what I'm going to show you guys. So we're not going to see what's at the bottom. All right. So team fastball, all six. So each team got six starters, and so one of them has always been in the bullpen, and so that'll happen again here too. The reason that's important is that one pitcher is going to get a stuff boost, the one going to the bullpen. So we'll see what that starting pitcher in the bullpen, that'll be a completely separate thing that we need to look at. And now I'm wondering if we should only have five starters. I'm a little worried that that one starter in the bullpen is going to throw off the results. And frankly, the teams don't need a six starter because there's no injuries. Um, all right, here's what I'll do because it's going to be a little complicated to make that change because I'd have to convert a starter to a reliever. Yeah, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make everyone throw a six-man rotation. So that way I don't have to delete or clone any players and we can just get started. Everyone's going to have six stars, but they'll also have to run a six-man rotation. I think that'll be the way to get around it. Okay. Team fastball getting all 550. Okay, yeah, this is gonna work. You guys can't see the resulting rating section, right? So that's starter three. This is starter four. Oh, Max, you can't. How is that possible? I think Max just messing with me. All right, now. No, no, the view rating, I'm fine with you guys seeing. That's yeah, no, it's the resulting rating, which is the stat line. It's at the bottom of the screen, which should be cut off right now. All right, so now let's go to the Braves pitching staff and ask for a six-man rotation. And ask for the staff. Okay, yeah, all six starters are there now, so we're good. Max and Fisting Ross says, "Yo, you got a combi, Max. Wait, you have lots of combis, I thought." Oh, okay. It changed the okay. Remember those team name changes I made? They went through before, but now it also updated the list. So we're I'm just gonna go in order. So we're gonna run into the Braves again. I just have to remember to keep going and do the slider teams. All right, so now we're at the changeup team, changeup Rangers. We'll go to a 6-man rotation right now. We'll ask for the staff. Okay, now we'll go make the edits. Okay, and this is changeup Ranger, so they're going to get the max changeup here. And again, the prediction is based on previous experiments we've done that of these 4 pitches, changeup is going to uh, win the day or the season, I guess. Okay. Well, these are much quicker than some of our other sims. All right, the changeup nationals, they'll get the same treatment. Go ahead and do a 6-man rotation. Oh, Max and I might face each other in the semis of the late iron. Well, I'll just be happy to get that far because that's a lot of PTCS points. Because, it's not like I've made the finals 2 of the last 3 days, I'll just be happy to get there. Oh, it's Max's PAX only team. Yeah, Max, I don't know if you know, I've been on a hot streak in low iron lately. I've made 2 finals, I think, in the last 3 days, and I won the weekly low iron tournament, which is new. In fact, I might have won the inaugural low iron weekly tournament. I think that was the first time they had it. All right, that team is done. Curveball teams now. This feels like uncharted territory. This will be fun because I don't know what's going to happen with the other pitches. 6-man. Okay. I'm just making sure no one's adding a reliever or closer to the rotation. There's no reason they should, but you never know with the AI, so keep an eye on that. All right, curveball. This will be fun. The other thing we could do is, if we end up, let's say we end up taking out changeup because it's clearly the winner, or we take out a different pitch because it's clearly a dud, we can make a team velocity. And that team, everyone gets 100 plus velocity. Now, that's not as much of a lever as the others, so it's a little unfair. Um, but it might be interesting to see what happens. But we'd have to go into it recognizing that it does not move the needle as much as maxing out a pitch does. Claydog says, feel like it might be better to run it twice with higher and lower velocities for each sim. Are you talking about this sim, or if we do one where velocity replaces one of the pitches? This is curveball Phillies. Yeah, so for those of you who joined after I did my little opening spiel, Claydog says, oh, you mean combined with the pitches? Yeah, I'm open to doing that. If things are close, we're going to want to run this again. And I'm not opposed to running it again this time with like a different velocity. We can also change arm slots, right? There's a lot of things we can play with. As long as we do it in like a methodical fashion and aren't changing too many things at once. Wait, games. I thought Daily Low Iron is like a best of five. Is there a game seven? I don't I don't know. All right, late iron. Oh, it's best of seven. Okay, thank you for letting me know. I did not. You would think I would know, having done well in it, but I did not know. Reboom didn't like that. The first time I made it to the finals, I knocked him out of the first round, the round robin. All right, this is a fastball team. Now the Braves we've already done. Okay, let's just confirm that the Braves are done, and let's confirm that they have a six-man rotation. Yep. And let's just look at one of their profiles. Yep, their fastball is increased. It's interesting though, from a rating perspective, it's saying the fastball is only a 60. When we've basically given them a god level fastball. I wonder if that's because the velocity isn't maxed out. That'll be interesting. Well, actually, let's just check that real quick with this picture. I'll change it right back because with the scouting turned off, the assessments are 100% accurate and they should be instantaneous. Okay, that took the fastball up to 95. You can also see what it did to the other pitches. It boosted the other pitches too. That's interesting. Okay, I take back what I said about velocity. Maybe velocity will crush it. Yeah, fastball is most tied to velocity is most tied to the fastball, clay dog. But as you can see, it's also tied to the other pitches. But it's most tied to the fastball. So um, Max, I don't think it's true about the movement. I think you're conflating real life baseball with OOTP. So I think that's true in real life. What happens in OOTP is um, because movement is treated as a completely separate element in this game. I think what's happening, what OOTP does is saying, I believe the other pitches become more effective because they create a greater uh, difference from your fastball. So, for example, your changeup effective will increase, but not to the same extent. Your changeup is becoming more effective because your fastball has become more effective. My understanding is that's the mechanism by which it changes in the game. But what Max is saying is absolutely true in how would play it out in real life. Um, I'm just trying to explain in terms of the game. Oh, you're talking about the movement of the, not the movement rating. Got it. Yeah, Max. Yeah, that's right. That's. I think that's probably correct. Okay, let me make sure. I have to make sure I change this guy back so I don't. Okay, yeah, he is back to 550. Okay. All right, so now we have the slider teams and we're ready to go. This is nice. This experiment was faster to implement too, so this is cool. Six-man rotation, edit our pictures. Okay, this is team. This is why I'm so absent-minded. If I didn't change the team names, I'd always be free. So this is the slider team. Okay, sliders at 550. Slider one. I could look. I've been very transparent. I think changeup's going to take the day. What I don't know is I don't know which of these secondary pitches is going to be next most effective. I could easily see a case being made for any of them. I would suspect it's fastball, but when I've guessed other things, I've had some rationale. I don't really have a good rationale for guessing fastball in this case. Max is thinking curveball. So yeah, if you want to in the chat, let us know what you think the second most important pitch will, or I guess which team besides changeup will finish. Sorry. How about in the chat, people guess what team will finish second to team changeup? But if you want to be bold, you can also guess a team will beat team changeup. Clay doesn't vote slider because he likes the slider. I think that's a perfectly valid reason to pick a pitch. Team slider. It's a 550 slider. Now I am changing potential as well, even though it's not. It shouldn't be necessary. I'm just worried that there's some thing hidden in the game that it might affect. So, and I've turned development off, so there's really no reason potential should matter. But just in case, like, it didn't hurt to put it in, so I'm changing it every time. Okay, so this is done. So first we're going to save the game, just in case it crashes. And then we're going to save this as a quick save. Now, this is not a master quick save. Save current game as a quick start. Okay. This is now pitches, quick start 01. Completely average league, fastball, slider, curve, or change boosted to 550. P-Boom wasn't here, but he likes the gas. Yes. Gas face activated for sure. Okay, this quick save has been saved. Oh, cool. Max is starting a prediction for us. Awesome. Oh, I don't think I get to vote though. I've tried to vote before in these and it won't let me vote. Thanks for setting that up, Max. Appreciate that. Um, so we will. I think everything's ready to go. We won't fire until the prediction's over. He was not putting any points in there, he says. It's always rigged against you. Well, for once, it's not going to be rigged for me because I can't play. Oh, you don't have the. Is that something I need to activate, Max, to let you do a poll? Or is that something that, like, mods just aren't allowed to do? Okay. Oh, yeah. While, okay, while you guys are doing that. Oh, yeah, no, Clay Dog, I think Max is saying there's a poll and then there's a prediction. A prediction is the one like where you vote you bet channel points on it. A poll is just asking, and it'll just show you like which answer was said the most. But I think the predictions are more fun because you get to vote. You get to bet channel points, unless you're P Boom and don't want to bet channel points. Okay, so we can go back to the standard view now because I don't have to hide anything from you guys. Oh, every other time streamers do it, it never shows up for you. Oh, that's interesting. In the meantime, I wanted to go through a quick slide with everybody. I think most of you in the chat know all this stuff already, but in case there are people lurking, in case people watch the VOD, I wanted to kind of clear up a few things that that have come up either from when I've posted stuff or I've mentioned stuff in other chats. I just want to kind of explain some of the core principles we're operating with here when we do our experiments, because I think a lot of times people hear about the results we've gotten or they see what I post out of context, and I realize, all right, well, that's my bad. They don't know the context. They haven't been in the streams. So the first thing to remember is Yes, we're applying the scientific method and we're doing it as rigorously as we can on the application side, but this is for a game. So I'm not super interested in being ultra rigorous on the analytical side. If I had to, I can do it. In business school, one of my concentrations was in decision sciences, which includes things like statistical analysis and running Monte Carlo simulations and stuff. But that's not what I'm trying to do because of the second point, which is we're prioritizing fun over learning over statistical rigor, right? I'm doing these sims because I think it's fun to try them out and see what happens. I do them because I always learn something new, usually something completely surprising. Um, and I'm less concerned about like how statistically significant the results are. And because of that, like we understand we're dealing with small sample sizes. Sometimes we're going to make decisions or conclusions based on two trials, right? One sim gets us two trials if we can keep the AL and the NL experiment separate. No one in the real world ever make decisions based on two experimental trials, but in our case, sometimes we will. And we understand that there's some risk to that, right? It could be an RNG or natural variance thing, but we're going to be okay with that. And then the last thing is, you don't have to tell me that running a series of one-on-one trials, and I'm not talking to the chat, like no one in the chat has said this to me. This is like for people who might be watching the VOD or see this out of context. Um, yes, of course, it would be better if we ran hundreds or thousands of trials of power versus I, and then power versus avoid K, and then I versus avoid K. Like, I understand that, but that's not what we're trying to do here. Maybe someone else wants to do that, but that's not what we're going to be out here. We're going to be about trying to set up experiments that are based in scientific method that will teach us the things we want to learn, but we're going to prioritize having fun and simulating things in a fun way over being like super statistically rigorous or significant. So, I might actually highlight this too and put it on there as a clip so people can watch it and understand, okay, these are the kind of the ground rules. So, you don't have to bring up some of these things every time I post a conclusion or something. All right. So let me get off my soapbox here and put the game back on. Um, how do hey Max, is there a way we can see if what the current standings and the predictions are? Oh, 20 for changeup, 10 is for slider. Okay. Now, if I start the sim though, people can add predictions, or can you close it? Oh, people says it was an accident. Okay, yeah, can you close it and then I'll fire up the sim. I'm excited to see what happens. You know what? We've seen so many weird things in these sims, even when we think we know what's going to happen. I will be surprised but not shocked if changeup does not win. I will be surprised because of how clear the results were in that Texas Rangers sim I did. But I will not be shocked because you never know. And I don't know that I was super rigorous when I was cycling through the pitches in that Ranger sim to see which one to do. I think I just saw a changeup early on was just like, wow, these predicted stat lines were insane. So there's a chance one of these pitches, or maybe one that we haven't chosen yet, could be changeup. But as far as I'm concerned, it could be anything, but I'm leaning heavily towards changeup. All right. All right, let's roll it. Remember now, we're in 2023. Oh, that's the other thing. We can try this in different eras too. Um, Specifically, like I'm thinking 2010 because that's considered modern era in perfect team, or we could do it like the year of the pitcher, 1968. We could do it in dead ball. Frankly, all these experiments might be worth redoing in dead ball. That would be interesting to see. But yeah, let's do the first month. We'll see 2 games worth of results. All right, very small sample size. Interesting that curveball is on the top on both leagues right now, but that's only 2 games. So the next month will give us a lot more information. Interesting. Curveball is still sticking at the top of one league. The NL is led by curveball by 1 game, though. And in the AL, it's slider by 3 games. Changeup is in third place in both leagues. Interesting. Fastball is on the bottom of both. It is early, though. It is early, though. Slider hanging tough in the AL, but just got overtaken by changeup. Changeup has now moved to the top of both leagues by just 2 in 1 game, though. So don't read too much into it yet. But fastball is starting to trail pretty heavily in both leagues. We'll see if that trend continues as well. Why don't they just throw harder? Ask P-Boom. You know what though, P-Boom, that could be part of the problem. The velocity is 91 to 93, so maybe if you give them a great fastball, but at moderate velocity, it might not be as helpful. Um, but again, I think this is what we're talking about, right? Like if we redo this where everyone throws 100, then maybe fastball moves up higher in the order. All right, changeup and slider really bounced around in the AL, and his changeup curveball in the NL. That's interesting. Is there a way to see how many of each pitch they throw? You know what, Clay Dog? I've never looked for that, but let's look for it after we finish. It would be interesting to see. Yeah. Um, I would assume they would rely on that pitch a lot more, or it would be interesting to see what percentage of the time they throw each pitch with 2 strikes, right? Because then you're looking for your out pitch, and you would assume their out pitch would be the pitch they have a 550 rating in. Okay, so what are we seeing so far? Change up in the lead on both, but by very slim margins. Fastball trailing pretty heavily in both. Might be Plato says might be something behind the scenes for what they throw in different situations. Yeah, that's definitely true. Although what I've been told is the way the game engine works is it figures out the outcome and then it fills in everything else afterwards, like how far into the count it went and what pitches were thrown. I, but that might be old information. I don't know if the OOTP 25 still operates that way. All right, changeup still leading in both, building a lead a little bit more. So now we're up to. Sorry, and the reason I'm closing the accomplishments so quickly is because we're only seeing accomplishments for one team. After the season's over, we'll go in and we'll look at the league-wide achievements, which will give us a better picture of what's happening. Team changeup still leading now by 5 and 7 games. The order now has also has settled. It's the same in both leagues. Changeup, curveball, slider, fastball. But it's worth noting in the AL, curveball and slider are only separated by 1 game. Fastball is 24 and 25 games behind. I think it's interesting that that's pretty consistent. Of course, it's 2 data points, but still. All right, let's do another month. And frankly, changeup is not as dominant as I thought it would be. Now, there are a few things though that could be nerfing the impact of the 550 changeup on the league standings. The first is the bullpen pitchers haven't been changed. Clay Dog says the curveball Phillies just went on a win streak. Nice. Curveball Phillies. Okay, it must have been a little while ago though, because they're 4-10 in the last 10. We can actually look at their calendar though. Are you sure it was the curveball Phillies? I don't see 10 in a row anywhere. Oh, you thought you saw them going up? Okay. Um, I forget who I was following earlier. It doesn't really matter who I'm following, but okay, so oh yeah, so there are a few things that might be nerfing the impact of the changeup on the league standings. So the bullpens haven't changed, and that'll probably be the biggest factor. And then also, um, their run support will be average. So, although I don't know if that would matter or not, I'll have to think about that one a little bit more. But mostly, I'm thinking the bullpens haven't changed, so that could potentially nerf the results of having a dominant starting staff. But 10 games ahead in September is still pretty strong. It's just not the as 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 dominant as the changeup made those 1990 Texas Rangers. I thought we'd see more of a runaway season here. Oh, P Boom likes the division graphs. Let's look at the division graphs. D Block, good morning. Oh yeah, these are cool. It also gives me some confidence that if you were to continue running these out, you wouldn't have any crossover, right? Because part of the argument you can make is 162 is an arbitrary number of games. Like if we cut it off after 20 games, we might have seen something different. But I think this division graphs gives me some confidence that like you could continue running this out and you probably wouldn't have too much crossover. The only place where I could even see that happening is our second and third place, which we've acknowledged are a little bit closer than the others. So D Block, we're testing out the relative impact of four different pitches. We're maxing out one pitch each for each team. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who wins the Cy Young Award, P Boom. All right, let's finish out the month. And I do want to see these playoffs too, see what happens there. All right, so the the order has changed. In the AL now, it goes slider curveball in the 2-3 spots, and in the NL it's curveball slider. And that's a little surprising because in the NL the gap is 7 games between curveball and slider, and so the fact that it's reversed on the other side is a little surprising. So that alone, I think, makes it worth repeating this a few times. Maybe not all tonight, but definitely worth repeating a few times. But I think one thing is clear: changeups on top, fastballs on the bottom. I don't think anything's going to change that. Yeah, D Block, I don't want to rain on your parade, but I think changeup was everyone's bet to be number one. In fact, before you got here, I just went over a previous simulation I did, not set up like this, but it was one that made it clear that changeup is the dominant pitch. Oh yeah, that's right. We have the prediction, so we are going to have to run this a few times until we can. Yeah, Clay Dog. I do think we should do maybe not tonight, but we'll do it with a different set of pitches. And I think we can do a series of these where it's like different sets of pitches, and we can take all the top pitches and then do a sim with those and see like what's the winner of the winners. Max is thinking split, fork, knuckle, and circle. Yeah, except I would do that a little differently. I would put split and fork in different experiments. Um, Now the game might not treat them similarly, but from a baseball perspective, I would see them as more similar than the others. Uh, oh, people think circle is a really broken one. That might make sense because that's what Nolan Ryan had in that Ranger sim, and he was insane in that sim. All right, so let's finish this day. I feel like you want to keep fastball and change in each sim. Ah, that's a good idea too. Keep the bookends. Yeah. The only thing is that leads to like more sims, but it also is more realistic to have probably to retain fastball each time because that's like a base pitch that most people throw. Um, but I was thinking the next set of pitches that like cutter would replace fastball, and then circle change replace the change, and then like then we'd have the other two slots to play with. So I am thinking along the same lines, but I was thinking like we'd replace them with similar pitches. Anyway, let's finish today. Okay, and then it won't give us all the accomplishments until we finish the postseason. So we'll just go ahead and finish the postseason. Um, Again, this is just for one team, so we're not going to pay too much attention to this. But we are going to go to the playoff tree. All right, so again, we have both changeup teams, but we have a slider team and a curveball team. I'll be surprised if either one advances to the next round, but it is a small sample size of 7 games, so it could happen. Ooh, Team Slider gave the changeup Rangers a scare. Oh, both of them went to 7 games. Wow. Yeah, Clay Dog, that's exactly right. I think I tried to say the same thing about the splitter and the forkball when I was commenting on Max's um comment. Is that I think of them as similar from a baseball perspective. I have no idea if the game treats them as similar. So yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Oh wait, curveball did win. So both series went to 7 games. Changeup won in one of them. Curveball won in the other. So we have an upset. We have curveball in the World Series. All right, let's finish the next playoff round. Curveball wins the World Series. Oh my goodness. Wow. Again, RNG and variance can have a heavy impact in the 7 game series. Yeah, take that changeup. All right, now the achievements should be set. So let's first look at the. Let me get a screenshot of the standings. Or wait, let me get a screenshot of the playoff tree. We always get a shot of this, especially because we had a big upset. Okay, now we'll do the standings page. No, it's an upset, but Curveball and Slider both only 7 games back, so not a huge upset. Yeah, no, Max, I think we have to run another sim or two before we can choose an outcome. The good thing is we have the quick start, so it'll be pretty easy to restart these. Um, what I'm really looking forward to is these stats, the team stats. Let's save the punchline for last. So we'll save team pitching. Let's look at team batting first. Now you have to remember, if your team changeup, that means you're not facing any good changeups, but you are facing all the other pitches. Team changeup. Well, this makes sense, right? Team changeup and team curveball have the highest OPS, but team curveball actually had a higher OPS in the AL. And in the NL, team curveball actually had a higher OPS than team changeup. That's completely unexpected to me. So curveball had more home runs in both. Okay. So you have to flip the logic, right? If curveball's hitting the most home runs, that means they're one of the teams doing a better job of suppressing home runs because they don't have to face themselves. Yeah. Interesting. No, we are. I'm saving the punchline for last, Max. Uh, because normally, right, you have to score more runs to win more games, or you have to give up fewer runs. So this must mean the pitching stats must be wild because Team Changeup won both leagues. They did not lead either league in runs scored. All right, so let me screenshot this. That is really interesting. P Boom. See, P Boom, I missed you in last night's stream. I kept mentioning because like you are super good at finding the anomalies in the data. All right, we're all lucky to have P Boom back tonight because he finds these things in the data. So why did changeup steal bases? Let's see. Yes, interesting. Team changeup led the league, both leagues in steals by a little bit, but definitely by more than curveball and fastball. So let's see. Oh, and caught stealing too. You're right. And every team is running the same sliders. So they're all running sabermetric. See, I would have believed it more if team fastball was leading the league in steals because they're facing off speed and breaking ball pitchers who should have a slower time to home plate and more pitches in the dirt. And so they should be easier to steal off of. Now, again, I'm thinking in baseball terms, not simulation engine terms. So that's my first potential error there. But that logic doesn't work for why changeup would be running more and getting more steals. Because as you guys pointed out, they're not just stealing more bases, they're running more because they're also getting caught more. That is interesting. Hmm. And again, I'm hoping some of these things become more clear as we run a couple more versions of the sim. All right, it's time to look at the team pitching stats. Maybe C's changeup is easier for the catcher to handle. Could be, and maybe the game doesn't factor in time to home plate like I do. Right, I'm thinking real baseball. It's the time to home plate that also changes, but this game might not be set up that way. All right, team pitching stats. Interesting that team changeup has more strikeouts, way more strikeouts than team fastball. And this is what I was getting at, where I think the game engine is saying you have more stuff if you have a good changeup because you're creating more. You're actually making your fastball more effective because it has a greater differentiation from your changeup. But again, that's potentially me adding baseball logic that might not apply to the computer logic. Yeah, Clay agreeing that's a huge margin between change up and fastball, and it's not in the direction I would have expected. I would expect a team fastball to have more strikeouts. You know what? This is interesting. The um the opponent batting average is in the exact order of the well, I guess they all are. All the rates are in the order of their placement. Clado says makes one of those pitches are linked, or if all pitches are somehow linked to fastball in some way. Yeah, you know, it'd be interesting if we did this without any fastball. So if it was like curveball, slider, changeup, and we either eliminate a team or we add like knuckleball, right? And so there's no fastball to key off of. I wonder if that makes a difference. Mm. I mean, this is where the big difference is coming into play, though. Like on the offensive side, it's interesting. Every team is facing, you know, every every cheat code pitch other than their own, but the run differentials weren't. There are no differences in the run totals, but there's huge differences in the runs given up totals. Yeah, no, D Block, I think we're agreeing with you that the most effective knucklers have a fastball too. So what we're saying is if there's a link between fastball and these other pitches, I think we need to like unlink it from fastball to see if that happens. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The best knuckleballers are the ones who can actually throw a legit fastball too. Slider had zero complete games in both. Yeah. Yeah, I did notice that the fastball and changeup had the most complete games. Um, I had to mention because I was still processing why that might be or whether it's just RNG. But it's very clear that the run totals go in the order of the win totals. The runs surrendered, whereas on the offensive side, there were no significant differences runs scored. All the differences in the runs surrendered. Now the thing is, like all the offenses are exactly identical, so you might think, oh well, then all the offenses should be identical, but they're all not facing the same pitchers. They're not facing your own team's pitchers, so there should be some differences on the offensive runs scored. It's weird to me that there weren't. Bear Basher just got a Combi 97 Jose Canseco. So I don't. Is there a market for those high end combis? I mean, I guess there is. What's the L10 on that, Barry Basher? T-Log says the problem is the changeup only gets good with the fastball about 10 miles faster. So you can't catch up with the heat if you're looking for the change and vice versa. Yeah, so D-Block, I think what you're getting at is what I was mentioning earlier too, which is you and I are making baseball uh baseball based assumptions. I don't necessarily know that the game has those same assumptions built into it. Because I completely agree with what you're saying. But that's also why I think it'd be interesting to have these pitches without a fastball. Because in real life, to D Block's point, what we are talking about earlier is your changeup is only effective if you have a fastball to key off of. In real life, if you got rid of the fastball, your changeup is just a gopher ball pitch, right? If you have a changeup with no fastball, it's just batting practice. But I'd be curious to know if the game is programmed to do it that way. Yeah, So D-Block, I don't disagree that the game should have that. What I don't know is if it does have that. So in every other sim we've done, right, like the power team, their pitching staff gives up fewer home runs because they're all facing teams that don't have power. Which is why I don't understand why, if you go back to the batting stats, if team changeup is giving up fewer runs, why aren't they scoring more runs? That's the part that's like making my brain hurt right now. Yeah, so D-Block, everything you're saying, I 100% agree with in real baseball. But what remains to be seen is if that's how OOTP is set up. Because my understanding is OOTP is set up to calculate at a plate appearance level what happens. I don't know how intricately it's programmed to understand things like your changeup increases in effectiveness the higher the velocity difference, uh, or frankly, a changeup is more effective depending on what else you have that you have to make batters look out for. Um, and I don't know that all those things were programmed in. That I think that's part of what we're going to discover. The only offensive thing I can see, other than the stolen base thing, which is weird, is team fastball has the fewest hits in both leagues, which means every other pitch is better at suppressing hits than fastball is. So okay, so this is a good first data point, I think. Yeah, D block and circle change was also king in the 1990 Rangers sim I did too. But we're trying to take a uh, methodical approach to show that. So I think we can do two things here. We can either run this back, or oh yeah, Barry Basher, is that the two though that looks like a Z? So that would look like a seven. Um, so I think we can do two things. One is to run this back. The second thing we could do is run this back, but with the alternative pitches. So we could do circle change instead of change. We can do cutter instead of fastball. Now, at that point, though, we're changing lots of stuff at once. Um, all right, let's do this. Let's run it back, but let's replace change up with circle change. Because that's the one that gave Nolan Ryan the basically like the unhittable profile in the Rangers sim. So this is saved. We can do a new quick start. We're not using quick start 5. That's the new baseline. We're using not batting ratings, pitches. Yeah. And this is now pitches VO2, and this will be circle change. I don't think I have screenshots for that Rangers sim for the stats because the Nolan Ryan stat line was insane. And he was the one, if we go back to the slide, and if you go back to, where's that Nolan Ryan one? Right, he's the one who got the circle change. And so that's what D-Block's talking about. Okay, so let's go back here. We'll start the sim with circle change this time. Oh, P-Boom, congrats! The new Andrew Jones card. I've liked every card he's gotten in the game. Okay, so let's go in and change the team names. So we really just have to change the circle change Rangers and the circle change Nationals. Everyone else can stay the same. Oh, but to be consistent, every team should get a circle change. It's just that those two teams will get the so we may say this is another quick start, just in case we want to run one or the other back. All right, so here this will go to 0, and the circle change will go to 550. The other pitch that was pretty effective, not as effective as the circle change though, was the knuckleball. That the Charlie Huff 550 knuckleball was also very effective. In fact, to D-Block's point, thinking back to that Rangers sim, I probably should have started with the circle change. Especially now that I hear from D-Block that PB and EMLB, they're also seeing that circle change. I think that was me just being a little lazy and not wanting to change the base pitching repertoire because everyone already had a standard changeup. But I think this does make sense to be the next sim because we know this is a devastating pitch. Okay, circle change Nationals. We get the same treatment. One the bummer in that Doctor Dynastics Red Rock League player boost is that it seems like you can't pick the pitch you want to work on or acquire. It seems like it's randomly chosen. So it's interesting. So in the chat, I mentioned that oh maybe they made it random because the developers knew everyone would pick circle change or change up or off speed. I think I said off speed because I was thinking knuckleball too because the knuckleball worked for Charlie Huff. Um, and in hindsight, when Dr. Dynasty said, well, he had talked to the developers and they said, no, they're trying to recreate like what would happen in a real development setting. But in hindsight, that doesn't make sense to me though, because you're not going to go in to go work on your changeup and then come out with a better curveball instead. Like, I don't see that happening. So even these base changeups, I'm going to change to the circle change just so we can say it's the same pitch, but these are going to be average circle changes, right? They're going to be 400 circle changes, not 550. So I'm going back to thinking that's an intentional design to keep everyone from breaking the game. Especially because if D Block knows that the circle change is um is the king in PBE and EMLB, I'm sure the developers know too. But it does sound like you can get the circle change by chance. I just don't know that I buy the whole rationale that like that's supposed to model reality because to me that's not realistic that you go into work on one pitch and you get better at a different pitch. All right, so I have to keep reminding myself they get circle changes, but they are average circle changes. Oh, see, I almost gave him the cheat code circle change. D-Block, it sounds like you're talking from experience. Do you also have that Conseco combi? P-Boom, screenshot that. Screenshot that to that's awesome. That's awesome. Although I first read that as two perfect cards in one pack, but two perfect game cards in one pack is also amazing. That is really cool. I think I only have one perfect game card. I got the Addy Jaws from my perfect pack for winning that iron low iron weekly. It's, I'm actually kind of surprised and impressed that there's only one pitch that breaks the game. Like as much detail as there is in this game, I'm surprised there aren't more things like that. That like you find the one lever to like really break the game. That the circle change is the only one is actually kind of impressive. Okay, that's the fastball Angels, fastball Braves. All right, bear with me, guys. We got two more to do, and then we'll save this as a quick start, which will make it easier to play these teams again. So I'm glad D Block's there to entertain you with his tales of Combi Dave Justices. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too nitpicky by giving everyone a circle change, an average circle. Actually, no. I think I'm being consistent. I think that's okay. I think I'm doing the right thing. Because otherwise, you're comparing a cheat code circle changeup to a regular changeup, which doesn't seem right to me. Oh, look at this. Okay, here, this might be a problem too, though. Um, I forgot to make this team populate their rotation with their sixth starter. That could be a problem. So, which slider team was it that? Oh, but this wasn't the slider team that I think made it to the playoffs. I'll have to save. I'll have to change that in the quick start though. Glad I caught that. Yeah, D-Block, I was going to do different experiments tonight, but I watched Dr. Dynastic testing out his player boost process for Red Rock League and ended up getting lots of questions about, like, what should people boost? Because I think people knew that I've been doing these experiments. Pausing for ads. Oh, the slider Mets also didn't have six starters. That's weird. Huh. Something interesting just happened while we're on the ad break. This is the only team that when I tried to get the AI to set the pitching staff, it went back to a five-man rotation. None of the other teams did that. So I had to manually drag this player over here, then have the AI manually set the bullpen. The end result should be the same, but I haven't seen this before where the bench coach refused to go with the six-man rotation. And they're all running the same sliders, so it couldn't come from a strategy difference. That's very weird. Oh, hey guys, wanted to ask your opinion on something. I have another daytime stream tomorrow, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. I was originally gonna do uh the sim that proves the existence of the bullpen stuff boost. It's the Cornejos and Foxes, and not only does it prove the existence of the bullpen uh, boost, but because of a modifier issue, it basically turns bullpen Cornejo into um, Steve Nebraska from the Scout, like 24 strikeouts per nine bullpen versions of Cornejo. I was going to do that because it's kind of like a natural follow up to the Babe Ruth sim. But then I was thinking maybe I should do an overview of all the different um, player attribute stuff that we've learned. So it could kind of be like a crash course on player attributes to help people think through their player creation and player boosting um, for these various online leagues. I mean, which do you think people will be more interested in? Because these are mostly people who have never seen this stream because they watch during the day and we're on late at night. Okay, this looks good. So we have to save this as a quick start. Save current game as a quick start. And this is circle change. A circle change instead of change up. Okay. So I don't know if you guys noticed this because of the ad break, but both slider teams did not have 6-man rotations. So one thing we might want to do is we'll go back to that first sim in the data and see what those 6 starters end up doing out of the bullpen. Dog says that the daytime viewers enjoy a health class presentation on Dick Ricketts and how to protect yourself from it. Amazing. That's amazing. That's great. All right. All right, let's run this. All right, we saw this the first time. The first 2 games did not really show us anything. I don't even know if there are your viewers, Vbot, because this is afternoon. You're morning. We're late night. I think this is a completely. I think this is an altogether different set. Okay, Circle Change is leading the NL, but in the AL, Circle Change is in third place, 4 games behind. He's streaming in his evening, Max, but not in the audience's evening. Clay Dog is one of those viewers, and he was fascinated by the late night dick action. Good fun all around. Hey, Clay Dog, did you know I have a NSFW team, which is all the dirtiest sounding names from Major League history? Okay, Circle Change has climbed to the top now of both leagues. Um, and then curveball slider are still second and third, flip flop on the other side, but fastball is still last. You need to see that list, Clay Dog? Yeah, I do. I do play by play for that team. All right, Circle Change is starting to cement its lead in both leagues. All right, so we are 8 games and 6 games ahead, respectively. Fastball still in the cellar. All right, it's we're still seeing a bigger spread in the AL, but yeah, it's still circle change first, fastball last, and then slider, curveball kind of in the middle. Flip flop from league to league. Actually, sliders in danger of overtaking the circle change in the NL. Let me make sure the AI didn't change the Mets pitching staff again. Look at that. It went back to a 5-man rotation. That friggin' AI. All right, we're gonna finish up this sim, but it's under protest. This is probably not gonna be a valid data point because everyone else is running a 6-man. Let's see. Okay, average start of 5 is their start in the bullpen. So let's see what that pitcher is doing. Okay, it's not. It's actually not breaking the game. It's got a 1.19 WHIP, which is actually worse than the starters. It's got a slightly higher strikeout per nine, so it is getting some stuff boost, but it looks like it's not huge. But the problem is he's still probably better than other closers. Oh, so their closers average closer 2. Yeah, it's no contest there. Um, let's look at the other circle change team. Their closers average. Okay, yeah, their average closer 2. Okay, that's closer. Okay, so it looks like it is a function of circle change and not the fact that it's a stuff boost. So that's good. I'm baffled that it's the one team that's doing that. For some reason, that bench coach. And you know what? Did I standardize? I thought I standardized all the staff. Yeah, Clay Dog, the managers and coaches might be different, but their sliders are all the same. That's the thing that's interesting to me. Yeah, P Boom, there's something up with reliever war in this game. I It always seems way too low. The staff has preferences too. Yeah, that's a good point. We may have to go back to the base quick start and make sure we standardize all that. I thought I had, but I might not have. Actually, we can look at that. Let's look at the Mets front office. Oh yeah, right. We don't see the staff because they don't do anything anymore. Like coaching's turned off, everything's turned off. Okay, let's coaching's turned off, but you guys are right. Like the coaches might have preferences because the names are different, right? When you go right, because it's asking, well, usually it says bench coach and then it says their name. It says ask so and so for staff. And so because I have coaching turned off, I think it's just asking a generic bench coach for the staff. Like this is all standardized. That's weird that that one team just keeps undoing my. The other thing that probably means is I didn't put everyone under human control, which I should have done. All right, let's finish this out. It still doesn't change the surprising fact that circle change is not doing significantly better or worse than standard changeup, which also leads me to believe if we switch it to knuckleball, it might not be that different either. Oh yeah, sorry, Clayton. Which thing did you not know I could turn off? Oh, the coaching stuff. Yeah, there's an option you can turn coaching off. Um, yeah, coaching system. You can turn the whole thing off. Right. So I unchecked use coaching system. So theoretically, there's no coaching going on. But I wonder if their preferences are still built into the team somehow in terms of like setting lineups and stuff. I assumed all that stuff would come from the sabermetric strategy, but I could be wrong about that. Okay, so before I thought maybe the fact that there were 5-man rotations for the slider teams in the last sim might have led to one of the slider teams getting the playoffs, but we have the same thing we had as last time. We have curveball, circle change, slider, circle change, or before it was curveball change, slider change. So I don't think that 5-man rotation seemed to have done much. Oh, this is interesting because I think the name circle change is too long. It wasn't in the team name. Oh, it is now though. Okay. Before during the sim it was. Oh, I think it's because it adds those columns on the sides and shrinks down the screen in the middle. It didn't have room. Okay, let's see. Yeah, to me, even though I agree with D Block that in my previous sim, the circle change, it is like Clay Dog looking for a curveball reflex, but we had an all circle change final this time. But yeah, in my other sim, I mean, granted, we did go change up, change up, change up, knuckleball, circle change, but it was that circle change card that was really devastating. But it also could be that it was because that was Nolan Ryan. Um, right, like let me go back to the list. I mean, in that case, you have, if you want to go scientific method, you have several factors that are changing at the same time. The most notable of which is it's Nolan Ryan. So in my sim, at least, that could be precisely why it's the circle change is so devastating. Right. It was already his speed pitch. And so I boosted that. Everyone else already had a change, so I boosted that. It could just be the circle change broke that game because it was part of Nolan Ryan. Right. Yeah, people right. He has the velo and he has just other Nolan Ryan attributes, right? Like insane fastball. So that's why in this fully average league, you know, it's more likely that the true value of the circle change would come out. And so far, after 2 sims of each, circle change is not knocking my socks off the way it did in that sim. And to me, it doesn't look that different from the changeup. Now we could do a deeper dive on the data, and frankly, we should just look at the data at all, which we haven't done yet. But let me get these screenshots. But circle change was not the dominant presence over changeup that I thought it would be. All right, last time I did the tease by starting with the batting stats, but let's just go right to pitching stats. Yeah, frankly, these don't look that different from the changeup stats, I don't think. And look, there should be no difference in the league, but if you look at the shutouts, right, it's interesting that in the AL, it's circle change curveball through most of the shutouts. But in the NL, where slider came in second, slider had as many shutouts as curveball, and it was down from the number that curveball had in the AL. So, I mean, there's a tiny chance something wasn't standardized, but oh, P-Boom, that's a good point. P-Boom noticed previously too that the slider team didn't throw any complete games. So here we have none in the NL and only one in the AL, whereas all the other pitches had at least a few. They only had one combined across the leagues. Yeah, I mean, I think here we're seeing very much what we saw the last time. I don't see. I mean, they're both dominant. I don't think one's more dominant than the other. Oh, and this okay, Clay Dog's pointing out in this one the oh, in fact, the circle change has the most home runs allowed in the NL. Yeah, so I think part of what we're seeing is the difference between curveball and slider is so small that there's going to be a lot of RNG involved. Oh, this is also interesting though. The before this is weird. In the previous sim, right, it was the runs allowed. Oh yeah, right. This is batting. Duh. Sorry. It is interesting. This time there was like no pattern on the offensive side, right? But this time, circle change did score the most runs. Right before we had to go to pitching before we saw why the changeup team won. In this case, though, circle change did score more runs than the other teams. So that could just be a weird anomaly on the other sim that all the runs were so equal. Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, I think the conclusion is still similar though. It's the off-speed pitches are the most dominant. Yeah, kind of saying it's probably just RG since it's the one pitch that changed. Yeah. Um, but I think the conclusion is still the same. It supports the same conclusions. The off-speed pitch, whether it's changeup or circle change, is the most dominant. The fastball is the least dominant, and the breaking balls. Right now, we don't know enough to differentiate between the two, but we know they sit somewhere between the off-speed pitches and the fastballs. Now, I think the other things we can start piling onto this are what if you do different breaking balls, right? Like screwball. What about screwball slider or curveball screwball? Um, and then where does knuckleball fit in? Does it act more like an off-speed pitch, which is what at least what I found in that one Texas Rangers sim? But again, that's one data point. Here, at least we have four data points. Let me go back to this chat because I am wondering what you guys think I should uh stream tomorrow, whether it's the bullpen stuff boost or a summary of all this stuff, all the player rating stuff. Oh, accomplishment check. Yes, P Boom. Yes. So P Boom suggested this yesterday and last night. And it was super helpful. Or no, was it 2 nights ago? It was super helpful. I continued to do it last night. Okay, we had only one 3 home run uh game. It was for team circle change against team slider, but it's one data point. So no 6 hit games, a bunch of 15 strikeout games, which makes sense. If you looked at the strikeouts per nine data, this is not super surprising. And if you look down here across the teams, sorry, on the right, it's predominantly changeup. Right, circle change, slider, circle, 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 curve, circle, circle. So the highest strikeout games were mostly circle change games. Yeah, there was 120 game. Yep, yeah, and one walk, 20K, one walk, which is crazy, right? Because his control is average. Right, all their controls are average. We didn't touch control at all, and the modifiers are off, so it's not getting boosted. So with average control and a god circle change, he threw 20 strikeouts and one walk. Whoa, look at this game above it. 19 strikeouts and 7 1/3. So of 22 outs, 19 were by strikeouts. 19 of 22 outs by strikeout. That's crazy. That also means up here there's a 17 strikeout game in 6 1/3. So out of 19 outs, 17 were strikeouts. Time to lower the mound, says Clay Dog. That is really cool. Actually, I'm going to screenshot this. This is really cool. And again, right, if you don't understand stuff, you would think, oh, the fastball team's going to have all the strikeouts. But the circle change is causing the stuff to go through the roof and causing all these strikeouts. Four no hitters. Interesting. One is a 7 strikeout no hitter by Team Curveball, and one is a 20 strikeout no hitter by Circle Change. Oh, so that 20 strikeout one walk game was a no hitter that we're looking at earlier. Oh, this 7 strikeout one is because it's range shortened. It was 5 innings. Yeah, we can check the box score. Wait, sorry. Oh, we have to go. Okay, it's June 30th. Let's go to where's his game log? I think we can get to a box June 30th. Can we not get okay, I know another way we can get there. It's the Circle Rangers. And we'll go to their schedule. We can get there this way. June 30th. A 2-0 win. 124 pitches, one walk, 20 strikeouts. He was a walk away from the greatest game that will ever be pitched. Yeah. Well, the greatest game that was ever pitched was by Steve Nebraska in the Scout because he threw an immaculate game. He threw 81 pitches for 27 strikeouts. This bum had to throw 124 pitches to do the same thing and didn't even get 27 strikeouts. What a loser. He's no Steve Nebraska, that's for sure. Yeah, washed. Oh, speaking of Team Nebraska, let me pull this up. In case you guys haven't heard, one of the projects I'm working on for a future stream is, let me pull this up for you, a fictional ball players roster for a fictional ball players save. So I think we'll do multiple seasons because the Nolan Network podcast had a great suggestion, which was have a minor leagues. So we'll put all the adults in the majors, and there's a bunch of kids from kids movies in here. They'll be in the minors, and then we'll basically develop them up into the majors as people retire. Like, Crash Davis is close to retiring. Um, who else? Jake Taylor, right? He's got bad knees. He'll probably retire soon. Um, and then that'll give, yeah, minors in the minors. That's great, Clay Dog. So yeah, so I'll be looking for suggestions on additions to this. The main thing I'm looking for suggestions for is um here, let me resize it so you can see it a little bit better. Um on the far right is a column for the major leaguer who would be the like the template. So we would import this player from the database and then make adjustments to them to get to the character. And so that's the place where I could probably use the most help, which is because some of these movies I've only seen once or twice. The movies I've seen a bunch, I can come up with a lot of the major league player templates. But yeah, so that's something I set up a separate channel for it on the Discord, so you can go in there and give your opinions. The Sandlot I'd hold off on because Paul Sporer has promised to help me with that, and he's my go-to Sandlot expert. So he's gonna we're gonna let him take a first cut at that before we take a bunch of input on it. But everything else I think is fair game. So in fact, for those of you who aren't on the Discord, if you want to help out with that, let me send you a link to the Discord in the chat. Of course, yeah. Max, of course I'm gonna ask Squints for help on Squints. That's the only thing that makes sense. All right, here's a link to the Discord. The channel is fictional ball players channel in the Discord. I've posted a PDF version of that, a screenshot of that spreadsheet. So if you want to comment, that's the version to comment off of. And then as I update it, I'll put a new version up. I'll probably pin it, and then we can all continue commenting on that. Okay, so I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. We're going to ran on over to Max. Max is going to be doing his usual late night stream. I know he usually does play by play for the Silver Soiree, and then I forget the other tournament he plays after that. And then usually I think some silver quicks in between. Late bronze and soiree. Got it. No open load tonight. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna raid on it over into him after we wrap up here. I think I got all the screenshots for this. Um, yeah, these stats were interesting, right? Again, the offensive numbers highlight that this still is an average league. That part is still working out, so I'm not worried about that. 250 average is the league leader. 29 home runs is the league leader. Right? To me, that all tracks. Oh, Waynham has solved the drops issue. I am not from Australia, New Zealand. I am from Oregon in the U.S. But Waynham, I'm glad you've resolved your drops issue. I was feeling bad for you that you weren't getting your drops. Right, and then what's not average is the pitching stats because these pitchers all have god level of a one pitch. Right, and then I think the team pitching stats were a little more odd in this one than in the regular changeup one. Oh yeah, Waynham, if you did solve your drops issue, do not be alarmed if we raid over to Max LP and you don't get dropped because he's still waiting. And frankly, I think an unreasonably long time to get OOTP affiliate status to get drops to give. But I guess it is what it is. I am also waiting for my giveaway packs. I am trying to get packs so that when we do these sims and I ask you guys to guess what the outcome is going to be, that I can give packs to the winner. So I'm still waiting to hear back from OTP about those. They asked me how many packs I wanted, which I thought was a good sign. And then I told them, and then I never heard back. So I don't think I asked for too many, but the fact that Max is also waiting makes me think there's just like a holdup. Kratos says if Chi can give away 15 packs to the four of us playing marbles in stream at night. Yeah, one of the things I was going to promote was you'll have the greatest chances of winning packs on my stream because there's usually only like a handful of people on the chat every night, and you know the that increases your chances of winning greatly. For real, Cheeky's often heads up later. That didn't used to be the case though. I remember like because now I watch Ezra mostly like um because he's been super great to us with the raids, and so I just hang out in his stream. But the last time I was in Cheeky's stream, he had a ton of people in there. Wayne thought the affiliates only have 5 packs for 24 hours, and if you're antipodian to the UK, the time difference will overlap with another set of drops from elsewhere. So my understanding is, Waynham, is that it's 1:58 Pacific time, which is 4:58 Eastern time. But whatever that time is where you are, is that's where you go from one day's drops to the next day's drops. Yeah, D-Luck, 100 is a lot because even if you split it up, even if that's all you're giving away for a week, that's that's 15. Well, I guess 15 drops a day isn't too much. Yeah, no, like we've watched it reset, and I think it was 1:58 Pacific, which would be 4:58 Eastern, which surprised me because I thought it would be more like midnightish, but yeah, I asked for 5 to 10 per night, 5 to 6 nights per week. Um, but also like Adub hasn't heard back about affiliate status, and Max hasn't heard back about affiliate status. So it just seems like we're not. No one's hearing back about anything. So we should hire Franchise. Oh, Clay Dog. Yeah, were you part of that crew that I raided into Ophi's stream? Yeah, I enjoyed that stream quite a bit. A lot of it too is because it's so different from our crew. Not that our crew, there's not that there's anything wrong with our crew, but it's just such a different experience. That's right, Max, you'll probably get giveaway packs before you get affiliate status. Wait, hey guys, I still haven't heard any input on the decision I have to make for tomorrow. Should I do the bullpen stuff boost, or should I do an overview of batter and pitcher attributes? Claydown says the bullpen one if you have that kind of figured out. Max is saying batter pitcher. Well, so Clayton, I do think we have a lot of this attribute stuff figured out. There's some stuff that I think we could define better. So I'm not too worried about like not having an interesting set of stuff to present. It's just really more like bullpen seems like it's easier to digest. Oh, okay, that's a fair point, Claydog. Yeah, that was also more fully baked, I think, to your point. So yeah, I'll do bullpen stuff, and then what I'll do is I'll tease the player attribute stuff, and then maybe I'll try to sign up for the following Friday too. But the last daytime stream I did was really eye opening. I got several whispers from people like speaking very highly about the content, which was nice. And then of course a ton of follows from people that normally don't see our stream here. So I'm looking forward to doing another one of those tomorrow. Um, but yeah, so Max, if you're ready, I'll start getting ready to raid over to you. Oh, it was great getting to see me and Ezra in the afternoon. Thank you. I appreciate that, Clay Dog. Wayne giggling to himself. I hear your voice, and did I really ask if you were from Australia or New Zealand? Yeah, I guess I sound pretty American. When I was younger, it would have been worse. I would have sounded really New Jersey, but I've lost that over time. All right, so thanks everyone in the chat. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for participating. It was really lively discussion tonight. I also like the New Jersey. Use guys. I want to thank Use guys for staying with me all night and participating. Uh, Appreciate the thoughts on kind of what to present tomorrow in the afternoon. I'll also still be doing tomorrow night if you guys want to hang out tomorrow night. So I'll do 3:30 Pacific for a couple of hours just to present that stuff to a different crowd. And then I intend to be back on here at 10 o'clock p.m. normal time. But thanks to Ezra Denny, as always, for the raid. We always appreciate his support. He's one of the reasons I stream at all. So it's really great to follow him in the at night. And we're gonna raid into Max LP 80, who's gonna be doing silver tournaments and stuff. And oh, Claydo, you're very welcome. Thank you for being here, and thank you for participating in the chat. You guys make this stream what it is. If you guys weren't chatting, I would just be like yelling into the wind about this stuff. So thank you. All right. So enjoy Max's stream. I'm gonna be there lurking mostly and doing a few drafts before I go to bed. But yeah, let's go check it out.